The kind folks behind Project Cars invited us to Sonoma Raceway to try out the new version of the game.
Unfortunately, we were in Belgium, driving on Spa that day.
Luckily, our shooter Chance plays a lot of Project Cars, so we sent him to drive the new McLaren 570 GT on track and in VR,
And we're only kind of jealous.
I've been playing racing games since I was 7 or 8. Even though I've driven on tracks, I have a fairly serious wheel setup to hone my driving skills. Now normally I would use the game to prepare for the real thing, but for this event, we did the opposite. We began in a classroom with instructors from Sim Raceway, teaching some basic driving skills like proper braking and race line techniques. Then we drove a real McLaren 570 GT through a slalom and hairpin course before being set loose on Sonoma Raceway. The 570 GT, as the name suggests, is the Grand Touring version of the 570S. Mechanically identical to the S, the GT has a rear glass hatch that swallows carry-on sized luggage, but doesn't come standard with carbon ceramic brakes. Our line of McLarens lapped the track behind a V6 Camaro. Despite this lead car, I still hit over 120 on the back straight. Through Sonoma's Turn 6, a left downhill sweeper called the Carousel, you can feel the sharp balance of the chassis. The slightest flick here will throw the car sideways, but the E-diff and stability systems allow you to bring it back in check without breaking a sweat. Compared to Paul's Cayman GTS, the 570 is much more playful. Just as I'm starting to find a rhythm, we are directed back into the pits to try this again only in Project Cars 2.
Yeah, I need one of these.
No kidding. In the game room, we found every variation of gameplay from consoles to PCs, ranging from a gamepad to an $80,000 simulator with harnessed racing seat, hydraulics, and full VR. I want to work up to that. This new version of Project Cars set out to improve 2 issues in the original. First, playing with a controller is far easier than the original game, an improvement that should entice more casual gamers. Secondly, those looking to chase lap times will find the cars far more controllable at the limit, thanks to real-world tire data provided by Pirelli and professional drivers like ex-Stig Ben Collins, McLaren test driver Chris Goodwin, Porsche factory driver Patrick Long, and many more helped develop the physics. Game director Stephen Voluen said the biggest revelation from these drivers was that the game was too hard compared to the real world. He said most critics don't think racing games are realistic unless it's difficult to drive, but the drivers refined the car's behavior at the limit. The result is surprisingly close to reality. The graphics are stunning. It looks like I'm back on the track, even though I'm actually sitting in a folding chair. In the game, the 570S does feel like our actual track sessions from earlier in the day. In fact, the experiences are similar enough that I'm looking for brake cones Sim Raceway put on the track for our event. Things get even more real when I strap into the VR simulator. With the hydraulics throwing me around and a full view from the Oculus Rift, I do feel like I'm back in the real thing. The only giveaway are the VR graphics, which seem low-res compared to the crispness of the monitors, but VR is still young and will improve with time. That said, I get 3 laps to put down a fast one for the leaderboard in the new McLaren 720S. My third lap is a quick one, a 1:46, making me the second fastest out of 9. At the end of the day, I'm not sure what I'm more impressed with, the McLaren or the simulation of it. The McLaren 570 GT is stunning to look at, as are the graphics of Project Cars 2. The 570 GT is rewarding to drive when you get it right, as is the simulator. The VR images may not be as impressive as the monitor, but the immersive experience brings race car driving right to your living room, even if you are sitting on your couch and using a controller. The McLaren 570 GT will cost you $200,000. The Sim Raceway program is $2,000. Project Cars 2 is awfully close to the real thing, and it only costs $60, minus the simulator of course. And it's available now for PC, PlayStation 4, and Xbox One.
Alright. Well, that was awesome.
Yeah.
Cool.